really do. You're a 21-year-old punk fucking kid. Grandpa's given you everything all your fucking life. You've never had a car payment, a house payment. Everything you live in was given to you by Grandpa. You fucking don't know what it's like to work for a fucking living like I do, to bust my fucking ass and do what I do. And you know what, Sean? You fucked me, and that's the way you got it. But you know what? Your grandpa's money will run out someday, and you'll have to feast for yourself. Get a fucking job, you piece of shit.
Welcome to Behind the Smoke podcast. My name is Sean Walchef from Cali Comfort Barbecue, and we are above the butcher shop in Spring Valley with my man Derek Marso. What's happening?
Not much. Just sitting here smelling some beautiful happy hour wine, man. Nothing like wine at 10:05 in the morning.
Wine at 10:05 in the morning. I like how you roll. To be honest, I've never been so excited for a podcast. I mean, there's all kinds of swag in here. There's hats and shirts and wine and all kinds of cool stuff. This is pretty sweet.
Prepared. I like it, man. I like it.
We definitely appreciate that. We talk about that on this podcast a lot. We started this to talk about business, to talk about marketing, to talk about really all the war stories, all the things that go wrong when you're starting a business, but the people that grind it out and that actually persevere. The sexy photos on Instagram, that's really the end result of a lot of fucking hard work.
Did you see the green egg outside? Lit up?
It just looks sexy like that. That's how it came?
Dude.
Where was my Behind the Smoke Instagram video of you putting that? Did you put that together? Or you got people? You got people for that.
I got people, dude. I got people. Actually,
good to have people.
Brian at Hot Sauces and More
really
came out and helped out.
No way.
Well, we put it together, and then, and I say we. But,
I supervise
my barbecue manager, Chris. Great kid. He put it together and with Nick Azizo, and when I went, it was a little loose and didn't fit right, so I called Brian at Hot Sauces and More.
Did it come with IKEA instructions, or did it have like?
Bro, it was pretty close.
Legitimate instructions.
It was pretty close. It was pretty gnarly, dude. It was really. There's a lot of pieces.
Have you ever
put a whole fucking pallet?
Have you ever put together a piece of IKEA furniture?
Yeah.
That'll end a happy home.
I did it once.
Me and my wife laid out everything. She's like, get the tools, we're going to do this. I'm like, I don't need the fucking instructions. Just give me those screws. Almost break up a happy home, that IKEA piece of shit.
Dude, it's so bad.
Like, I can't do it. I'll pay more.
My son has little Power Wheels that I got him for his, it was last year for his birthday. And I'm like, oh, fucking, how hard could it be? It's a huge box. I'm like,
Power Wheels? They don't assemble that already?
It's probably already put together. All I probably have to do is put two tires on it.
Where'd you get it from? Toys R Us? Because it'll be a collectible.
Walmart.
Toys R Us is going out of business.
Are they?
Yeah.
The brick and mortar?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Every fucking brick and mortar is going out of business, dude.
Yeah.
It's so hard. It's a dog-eat-dog world, man.
Yeah.
Brick and mortars are no longer. You have to specialize in something. If you just want to be a commodity brick and mortar, it's
inventory, payroll.
Dude, payroll. It's definitely payroll.
It's definitely payroll for sure. So what's going on today? What are we doing?
We got some beautiful wine, like I said, from Happy Hour, and I brought in one of my favorite people at my store, who is my beverage manager, my front end manager, Kat Nelson, who we met a while ago, and her fiance.
Congratulations.
Don't
buy IKEA furniture.
Yeah, don't do it. And is a good friend of mine, and kind of just started a relationship. We had it years ago, though, when she was working at K&B Wine Cellar. She came and got some sausages and some meat for her dinners, her specialty dinners, and we started a relationship, and now I got her on full time, and then we got Kristin Jolley from the owner of Happy Hour Wine. So welcome, guys.
Thanks so much for having us. This is amazing. We're happy to be here.
No, we're stoked because I'm ready to get dealt some knowledge on some of this wine. Because I'll tell you something is that I'm a certified Cicerone for beer, so my palate's good for beer. I understand it. I know everything about it, and I fucking suck at wine. I mean, everything about it. I just can't. But I'm here to, dude. I'm go. Let's go.
So this is what's so great about happy hour wine, though, is it's like we're making a happy hour any hour. You know, you don't have to be an aficionado. This is easy drinking wine for every day. So I brought some with us today. So we're, like you said, we're getting drunk at 10 o'clock in the morning. Nothing wrong with that, right? Cheers to that.
Cheers. Nastrave.
Yeah, we brought some swag, some happy hour hats. I brought Kat a tank top. It says, I followed my heart and it led me to happy hour wine, which is exactly kind of how we got started.
How'd you guys meet?
Through
Kat?
Kane,
Okay.
I contacted Kane wanting to help out Callie with their wine list, and he's got some of the best.
When was that?
Maybe 2 months ago.
Yep.
2 months ago.
And Kane
Perfect.
works for our distributor in California, Classic Wines.
And before we go any further, let me say something about Kane.
Yeah.
He's a fucking rock star.
He is.
I absolutely love
One of the
Kane.
best in the industry.
He's been with us for as long as I can remember. He's been one of our, but that guy, if I say, Kane, I want to do a reset on the wine, I want to do this, and we're friends now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even like he's our just a salesman. He's one of our friends. He's part of the Valley Farm family.
And those things that he comes in and does for us, the merchandising, he doesn't have to do that. That's
Right.
not
No.
part of his job. He's one of the only people that actually come out and hustle. And I've been obviously
It's
in the
because-
industry a long time. I've never had somebody from Classic come out and merchandise for me.
It's the people that develop a deeper relationship with their customers that are willing to listen and willing to find out what's going to help Derek.
Yep.
What's going to help Valley Farm, the guest that comes in, and what's going to help Callie Comfort. I mean, Kane was probably, when we opened the restaurant, the only person that ever came out for a wine company was Kane.
He was super excited
did
when I told him.
multiple tastings.
That's what he said.
Where we had to, but since then we haven't really focused on it until I tasked Corey with, sexing up the wine program
he
and the beer
tasked me with
program.
it.
That's why you find good people.
Delegation. At its finest.
And that's what it's about, right? Is developing those relationships with your distributors. That's what's helped us grow this brand exponentially over the last year.
Yeah,
So-
because it like so many people forget that, it's like, oh, how do I hammer down my vendor, and how can I, make sure I get the best price? It's like it's about a long-term play, and that
Right.
long-term play is what value can I add to them?
Absolutely.
Like if you add value to a vendor, imagine what they're going to do for you,
Right.
and imagine what that sales rep will do for you. And like, there's things that sales reps they don't want to have to push, but they have to.
Yeah.
That's coming from above their head, and if you're willing to just help them out with that, they'll run through a wall for you.
Absolutely.
And like so many people, they'll treat drivers shitty, and like that's the same driver that's delivering your product. How about you find out who they are and thank them for coming in and find out a little bit more about the company. You'd be surprised at how much better that delivery gets
Yeah. Your
for
driver's
you,
names, but-
for your managers, for your
Yeah.
customers, for everybody.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We try to do that here. We got away from that years ago with someone who was working at my store, and we really, I'm kind of hypersensitive to it now because we want to make sure that, like you said, it's a marriage, and if I can help, they have a job to do. They got to come in and get their route done. They have shit they got to do. So if we can do anything we can to help, be more efficient and get them out of here and make sure everything's smooth, that's big for us because, like you said, when I do need that extra favor, if I can call on him,
Sure.
and same thing with him. If he needs an extra favor, he can call on us, and that's what that.
Not only that,
relationships.
but then they buy into what you're doing and who you are and how you represent your business. I mean, we have drivers that come in to eat because they're like, dude, I couldn't believe how nice your managers were and how nice everybody was.
Yeah.
Like on all my route, it's like it's shit.
Yeah.
And then I come to
Well, they get shit
you
on it, for
guys,
sure.
and you're so hospitable. Like just because we're hospitable to the customer doesn't mean that hospitality ends.
Right.
Which is
Absolutely.
like things that frustrated me the most about like Restaurant Depot. You go down there, it's like they're taking care of restaurant owners, yet I can't get any fucking service.
Right.
You're like, fuck. Like,
Yeah.
come on, somebody should start caring about the customer.
Yes.
And like for us, it's really fascinating why people do what they do. So how, like, especially branding. So
Yeah.
talk about you. This is a company owned by you and your husband.
It is, yeah. So it's just the two of us, and our last name is Jolley. So I feel like it was fate, right? The Jolley started happy hour wine.
That's right.
But really starting this brand goes way back for me. So my great grandfather was a winemaker in Paris, actually in France, right outside of Paris, in a small town called Orléans. And it was pretty cool, out in front of all the different houses, they had these weather vanes that would kind of tell people, who's the blacksmith, who's the baker, and my great-grandfather was the winemaker. And it was so funny. I grew up hearing stories about my grandma saying, like, I would never touch the wine because your great-grandfather, he would get in there and, like, I Love Lucy style, stomping on the grapes with his bare, gross feet with his friends, like in their underwear, and she said, I just...
Sean and I still do that.
My father-in-law's doing that right now.
So I grew up around stories like that and just being kind of, excited about the wine industry. And I had taken some wine classes when I was younger. And but when I went to college, I was always really fascinated by business as well, and businesses that have succeeded, grown from nothing. So I actually graduated with a supply chain management degree. And at the time, people were kind of like, what's supply chain management? That sounds really fancy, And it's really now at the core of so many businesses. Because really, what it is business logistics,
Right.
It's getting your product from point A to point B. And so I learned a lot about that. And when I graduated, I was looking for a job.
Which school?
Arizona State.
Arizona
State.
Yeah, I went to
Nice.
Arizona State. Yeah,
Sun Devils.
Exactly.
Did you try any wine when
Party
you were out
school.
there?
I didn't touch a drop of alcohol till I was 21. Come on.
I've heard it's a dry campus.
Exactly. I didn't have any fun at all.
We played you guys in the Holiday Bowl,
Yeah.
2001, and it was a party for sure.
Oh yeah. It's always a good time at ASU.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys are good hotel guests.
We won. We won, by the way, just in case anyone's wondering.
When I graduated, I was looking for a job, and actually a friend of mine was working at this grocery store company. Their corporate office was in Southern California. So I'm born and raised in Southern California in Redondo Beach. And so there's this grocery store company called Fresh and Easy Neighborhood Market. They were in El Segundo, and my friend was working for them in their supply chain department. He was like, you got to come over here and work for us. So I interviewed, I got the job, and I thought, this is great. Like, I'm such a foodie. And so now I'm kind of taking the business aspect and the food aspect and putting it all together, and I get to buy food for a living. Like, this sounds like fun,
Sure.
And so when I first started working there, I was actually working under the wine buyer. So I would be the one who would actually just like place the order for the wine, but he was the one who really kind of got to decide what wines went into the store. And so I was really just, taken back by that, thinking this is such a cool job. And he was nice enough to really kind of take me under his wing and teach me about product development and, category management and all of this. So there was a trip that came up, and it was to Walla Walla, Washington, of all places. Yeah. So we went there, and Washington wine is pretty awesome. And we were able to meet Charles Smith, who, I don't know if you know who that is. He developed House Wine. He just sold Kung Fu Girl Riesling and all those for like $120 million. I mean, the guy's a fucking rock star.
Right.
And so at the time, he had just sold House Wine. And I said, what, House Wine? Like, how simple is that? And he actually trademarked it and everything. And so I got back from that trip, and I said, you know what? Getting back to basics is where it's at. Like, making wine approachable and not snobby, not complicated.
I'm telling you, that's a huge thing to get through, because, I can't tell you how many times we talk about a lot. Things have to be experiences.
Yes.
And just looking at your label, the name, it's an experience. You already know. It's like, dude, I'm fucking gonna have some fun.
Yes,
at happy
absolutely.
hour. Like, this is what it's about. And if I can't pronounce the name,
and
I have to ask Kat, because I have to ask Kat shit all the time. I'm like, dude, I don't know if I want to drink this.
Absolutely, it's intimidating. Yes, we wanted to take that intimidation factor out of wine. So I came back from that trip, and I said, you know what? I talked to my husband. And I said, there's a happy hour at every bar and restaurant, right? But there's not a brand called Happy Hour where you can go into your local grocery store and pick it up and have happy hour anytime, anywhere. Right. Now, my husband's a firefighter, still is.
Here in San Diego?
No, in LA County.
Nice.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
And he was like, you know what? That sounds amazing, but like, starting your own wine company, that's insane,
Yeah.
So he's like, that sounds really complicated.
Right, but on his 4 days and 6 days, I'm sure he can fucking figure it out.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
four of my
said,
best
you've
friends
got some time.
are firefighters. We call them overpaid Boy Scouts. It's like, fuck, dude. You have 4 days off, 6 days off, every other day off. I'm sure you can fucking figure it out.
To their credit, wildfires are no fucking joke.
No,
They are.
totally.
If it wasn't for those Boy Scouts,
by no means, I'm
they'd
not
burn
discrediting it.
We all run away
Spring
from
Valley
the fire, right? They're running into the fire.
Right.
Yeah. You can be a Boy Scout all you want if you're going to.
But shout out to him.
Protect San Diego and Los Angeles.
We love
the way that
firefighters.
you do.
Yes, absolutely.
First responders, we love them.
So he said, look, if you're going to do something like that, first of all, you've got to have that trademarked, because, that's something that's so widely used, and could it even be trademarked,
Right.
know? And so he looked it up on the trademark website, And sure enough, there's this guy in Florida who owned the trademark. And I couldn't figure out what he was doing with it. Like, he didn't have a website. I couldn't find the product. So I had no idea if he was even using it or not. And his number was right there on the trademark website. So I called him up out of the blue. And I said, hi, my name's Kristin. I'm interested in buying your trademark. I want to start a wine company. This is what I want to do with it. And he just kind of, said, there's absolutely no way that I want to sell this. I'm doing a small business, but you know what? I don't want to sell it. And he hung up on me.
Wow.
So I called him every month for a year and a half.
Really?
Yes.
I love it.
And after a year and a half, persistence pays off.
always
That's what
pays
it's
off.
about,
So you got, 14 no's?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you're talking to
16 no's?
Mr. Persistent over here.
Exactly.
Don't let me get in your
Fucking
head.
Sean will fucking
You'll start
ruin
podcasting.
you. Yeah. Look at us now.
You'll be podcasting, and you'll be a happy hour wine library.
Yeah, exactly.
just like Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah. So I, finally, when I got through to him, after a year and a half, he goes, well, how old are you? And I was in like my early 20s at the time.
Like that matters.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And he,
Stupid.
well, this is the reason why it mattered was because he said, well, I'm 92. I said, 92, you have to sell me this trademark and you have to
now.
sell me today. Like,
Yeah.
what if you're not around
We're not
tomorrow?
doing it. Yeah, it's not probate or
Yeah,
get
exactly.
serious.
And so he said, you know what? You've been so persistent, and yeah, I'll sell it to you.
Rad.
And so this guy didn't even have an email address. Like,
Oh.
we had to do everything via snail mail, which I'm sure a lot of millennials don't
Yeah.
even know what snail mail is anymore, right?
What?
Yeah, exactly.
Send a homing pigeon.
Yeah.
Yes. And so we would send him the trademark, paperwork, and he would want to like cross off one word. And so he would mail it back to
right.
us. And then we would have to change it and mail it back to him. And this went on for like 6 months. I mean, it should have been done in a couple days,
Yeah.
and it was like a 6-month process. And every day I'm thinking like, please be around
please,
tomorrow.
yeah.
Please stick in here for just a
Please.
little bit longer. And so finally, after the 6 months, it went through and we had the trademark. And then it was all about, developing this product and the label and the wine and all of that. And so when we were developing the label, I said, look, happy hour's been around for so long, right? I wanted to have kind of a retro feel to it. So we've got these
Love it.
people on it. We spent hours and hours in like Total Wine and Bevmo, walking up and down the wine aisles. And there's so many with fancy writing and you walk right past them. They're not eye-catching. So we wanted something that really caught people's eye. So we added these people on it. And then I actually developed the logo, which has a circle around it. And it's got these dashes. That's kind of like an analog clock. And it's supposed to represent like every hour of the day. And then we put this colon in between the happy and the hour, evoking a digital clock. So any clock you look at, anytime, anywhere, it's happy hour now. So that's what we.
That is the coolest fucking UPC code I've ever
Thank
seen.
Right.
you. Yeah.
Damn,
So
holy
Stephen
shit,
Stephen
that is
actually
rad.
designed that himself. It's a UPC code that's shaped
Dude,
like a
really?
wine glass.
That's
That is
yeah.
so rad.
And it scans and so we were so nervous, like
wasn't gonna
doing
scan?
that.
Oh, for
We
sure.
thought, okay, we're going to do this. It's going to get to some big store and it's not going to scan, and we're going to be fucked.
You're gonna be in
Yeah.
So I mean, one of the things
Yeah.
that's so important is like every single thing you can tell that you guys have thought out.
Yeah, thank you.
The font, the colors, the
Yes.
way that everything, the label looks. I mean, the fucking UPC code, the fact that it's, I mean, that's such a cool touch.
Thank you so much.
When people are putting products, it's so difficult. Talk about the
Yes.
process of getting a product into Albertsons or
yes.
Whole Foods.
Oh my gosh, it's so complicated.
Because I mean,
So-
you've done all you've
Yes.
gotten it packaged, it's ready to go.
Yes.
Now what? Now how do you get to the
we
next step?
actually, so I actually started this company when I was still working at Fresh and Easy. I was doing it on my lunch break, after work, developing everything. And finally, when we got to the point where we said, okay, we actually have a product, we found the wine, we did everything. I actually presented it to, I was close to our CEO. At Fresh and Easy, and I had been very upfront and honest with all my bosses, like, hey, this is what I'm doing. I don't want you to think it's a conflict of interest. I wasn't buying wine at the time, and I presented it to the CEO, and he was like, this is awesome. It's such a great name, great branding.
How did you get to know the CEO? Better question.
Since I worked there,
well,
we just
a lot of people work in a lot of places,
and
but
don't know the CEO. So I mean, it was always an open door policy with him. So I
open
just
door
kind of,
policy only means that the door is open if you're willing to
if you're
open it.
willing to
If
open
you
it,
don't
if you're
open
willing
that
to go.
fucking door, it doesn't do you
Absolutely.
any good.
You have to walk in.
If you have an
to
idea,
introduce
you've
yourself.
got to go and talk to the leaders and the people that are
Yes.
pushing things forward and say, hey, this is what I want to do, even if it's in conflict
Yes.
with your job, your
Yes.
current job,
Yeah.
because chances are, which is what he obviously did, was he helped you.
Exactly, and you can't be afraid to do it.
Yeah.
You have to go out there and you have to just go after your dream. And so I presented. He said, "Put it in all stores. Put it in tomorrow." And that's what we did. So
Wow.
it was amazing because, I was doing this on the side. I was able to launch this in every Fresh and Easy. And that was in California, Arizona,
many?
Nevada. It was about 150 stores at the time.
And how many? What's the order? Like, how do you get to like a minimum order? Or,
So we actually, it was, all based off of pallets, right? So they
Yeah.
would buy a pallet to
That's
go
a
into
big
their
fucking
warehouse.
chunk too. That's
That's
a lot
Yeah.
of fucking stores.
lot.
It
Yeah,
was.
it's a lot of stores.
Yes.
Like
So-
you're like, oh, go to
What-
the mom and pop shop. No, let's
Yeah.
go to all the fucking Fresh and Easies
Yeah.
on the West Coast.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
What
So-
price point did you go in at?
So
at
yeah,
that
it was
time?
like right around it was under $10 a bottle, which is
Yeah.
exactly what we've tried to do from the very beginning, and then what we still do now is this wine is all about happy hour, any hour, so it's an under $10 retail wine. So we want it to be approachable to everybody, So we were able to launch it in the Fresh and Easy. It was doing so well. And we were outselling Barefoot Chardonnay and Cupcake Red Velvet. And we were, up against these huge brands, Menage a Trois, Apothic. We put it on sale and it was the number 1 and number 2 selling SKU out of
amazing.
200 SKUs. And a year to the date, basically, that we launched, Fresh and Easy went out of business.
Right.
And I remember thinking oh shit, not only am I losing my job, my 9 to 5, but now I'm losing the only
Account.
store, that's selling happy hour. Gosh, this really sucks.
Yeah.
And so what was amazing though is it ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me, the best thing that ever happened to the brand, because had I always been doing it on the side, it would never be where it is now.
Yeah.
And so it gave me that push to say, you know what, I'm going to do this full time now. And it sort of allowed us to press the pause button, and press the reset button on this brand.
Yeah.
So, we were able to say, okay, what are we really going to do, for the future of this brand? And really at the time I said, you know what, I want this to be our proprietary wine that nobody else has. That was the most important thing to me. We already had the packaging done. So basically, at the time when we had done it with Fresh and Easy, we had done what was called a quote unquote private label program, right? It was lower minimums. We went to a winery in Santa Barbara. And so I said, you know what? I want to do our proprietary blend. But in California, with some of these wineries, if you don't have astronomical volume,
Yeah.
you're not going to be able to do your own wine. So we ended up through some friends of friends getting introduced to this incredible 4th generation winemaking family in Spain.
Rad.
And actually the daughter of the winemaker lives right here in La Jolla.
Where in Spain?
Nice.
In the La Mancha. So
Mancha,
it's in the La
yeah,
Mancha
absolutely.
region of Spain. So it's directly below Madrid. It's
Sure.
a huge winemaking region.
It's amazing
It's
out there.
amazing.
I lived
It's-
in Alicante for
Oh,
6
really?
months, so yeah,
Oh,
I
that's-
have a special place in Spain.
So
in
you
my
know how
heart,
good
yeah.
Spanish
Oh,
wine
my
is.
God.
Yeah.
I was drinking at that time, so yeah, I had a few gallons of Spanish wine.
Yes. Yeah. So, we developed these blends with them and we said, you know what, we wanted a Chardonnay that was light, crisp, refreshing, not heavily oaked and buttery. And this Chardonnay is incredible.
No, that's actually
Yeah.
what I was just thinking when
Yeah.
I had it too. I was like, damn, that's actually like it's like the refreshing. That's
Yeah,
what I like.
exactly.
Personally.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not, sometimes when I like wine, it's probably not like the fanciest, but
Yes.
it's like, dude, that right now I just had that. I loved it.
Yeah, good.
Kat, when did you guys meet?
The two of us?
Yeah.
Yeah, we met at Cali Comfort.
Oh, you met at Cali
At
Comfort.
Cali Comfort.
No way, that
Yeah.
was the first
That
time
was
you
the
met?
first time
Get
we
the
met.
fuck out of here.
Yeah.
You guys were like
Yeah.
girlfriends.
Yeah, exactly.
No way. You're like,
That's how it is in the industry.
Instant.
no
Yeah.
way, really?
Yes,
That's so
exactly.
rad.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so we developed the red blend. So it's a Cab Syrah Petit Verdot blend. It's so smooth, velvety, easy drinking. But really, so we went from ordering kind of just pallets of wine, right, to ordering full containers of wine. And here we are ordering it, from Santa Barbara. It's pretty close, right? Now we're ordering it from Spain, and we're like, shit, now
Holy
we...
shit.
So how does that all work?
Yeah.
Is it, I mean, you're getting the containers of wine and bottling here?
No, so we bottle, label everything in Spain.
Wow.
We put it all into a container. We have 2 warehouses now. So at this time last year...
Do you have employees, or is this
This is
third
just
party?
me, myself, and I, and my
Get the fuck
husband.
out. You guys are you go to Spain to do this? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And you're
Crazy.
bottling all these
Yes,
wine?
we're bottling all in Spain.
Still
and
today?
Still to this day, yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
So it's more cost effective to do everything there than to just get the juice over here and then do all the bottling and labeling
yes,
here?
it is. It really is.
Interesting.
It's amazing how we were able to really like improve the quality of wine. We're able to improve our packaging with printed screw caps, printed cases, all these things that, a customer doesn't really know. But the thing is that it makes such a huge difference when you're just looking at the brand from a shelf.
I mean, we talk about it too. It's like when you buy an iPhone, you don't realize that customer experience, but that box is sexy.
Absolutely.
Like the manual inside, there isn't one.
Yes.
Yeah, there's like a sticker.
Yes.
A cool sticker. It opens up and it glides out, and you're like, this is your iPhone experience.
Yes.
That happens only when people care about the entire process.
Absolutely. Yes.
Well, and you might not have cared about the entire process if you stayed with your 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it almost forced you. So sometimes people don't understand, but being uncomfortable, there's a lot of growth in being
That's where you grow
comfortable.
the most.
You don't grow. I mean, you just kind of became stagnant. And if you would have just stayed with Fresh and Easy, it might not be where it is today.
I know it wouldn't be.
So-
I mean, gosh, we were in 3 states, a year and a half ago, and now we just opened up our 23rd state.
It's like,
I mean, there's
if
no
you
way
watch,
that
if
would
you
have
watch
happened.
Shark Tank, I mean, the
Yes.
number one thing that they'll hammer down on an entrepreneur is like, okay, well, what are you spending your time? Well, I'm spending my off time, 40 hours doing this. Well, you have another job?
Yes.
I have another job. Well, once you're ready to jump off the cliff,
Yep.
then you're all in.
Yeah,
and once you're all in, then we know that we can invest.
Yes.
And like you learned by literally circumstance.
Absolutely.
But it was one of the best things that happened to you.
It was the best thing because honestly, it's amazing
Because you could have
how
gone and
much
got
it's
another
grown.
job.
Yeah.
and still
Absolutely.
done a side hustle. Yeah.
Yeah. And we've been hustling ever since. I mean, we really did. So it's 3 states to 23. We started with a warehouse in just Los Angeles. So we were bringing in the wine into the port of Long Beach. We had a warehouse in Los Angeles, and now
How long does it take to get from Spain to Los Angeles?
From Spain to Los Angeles, it's about like 4.5 weeks just of
What's the
transit
insurance?
time. Oh gosh, there's insurance you have to worry
Oh
about.
yeah, big time.
Exactly.
That's your that's your product.
Yeah. So it's incredible if you really think
What
about
happens if it's in the hurricane?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're screwed.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
You got to go back to Spain and bottle
Yes,
more.
Yeah. So we have, we opened up a warehouse in New Jersey as well, so that way we've got inventory here just in case something happens, right? While the other stuff is coming over, and it's amazing that as a customer, right? You walk into a grocery store and you see a bottle of wine on the shelf, and if it's out of stock, you're upset, right? But you don't realize how much goes into that, right?
Oh, no.
From the packaging to, you see grapes on a vineyard, and it's like what it takes to care for those grapes, and then what it takes to make the wine, and then, what it takes to bottle it. And you've got suppliers for bottles, for labels, for screw caps,
Sure.
for boxes. Then you're palletizing everything and putting it into a truck that goes to the port. Then you're throwing it on a boat that goes into 2 warehouses. And then you've got to find, the distributors that will distribute your product, and the retailers that'll buy your product, and then the consumer that'll buy your product once it's at retail. So there's so much in between that
Sure.
goes through it. But
Well, I mean, if you look at it from a store level, I mean, Kat, how do you? Because one of the things that impresses me most about Valley Farm, the way that you guys do it, is you care so much about how sexy it looks, and like the craft beer, the way that it's placed on the shelf, the way that all the labels are facing. I mean, all that stuff matters. And when you go to a store that it doesn't matter, and the shelves are dusty, and it's not placed right, and then there's shit in the aisles that it's like, I'm trying to sell you this because like I want to sell it, and it's on whatever it is. I feel like I feel like someone's trying to manipulate me. Like if it's clean, which is how talk about your program. How do you guys do it here? What kind of leash does Derek allow?
I just have a pretty long leash with Derek.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then there's the eye.
There's the
When he's
eye,
not-
the Derek
when he's
eyes.
not super stuck on it. Not both, just one, just the eye, or the pout, somewhat pouty. Like,
How many wines do you guys have here?
oh, that is a great question. say a couple hundred to 300.
And how do you go about picking?
So that is something that is new to me here at Valley. However, I've been doing it for a long time, so I haven't really delved into that here. But normally, what I do is meet with the different suppliers, the winemakers when they're available, taste the wines. That's the first thing. What I'm looking for specifically, what I've always been looking for, is the small wineries, the family-owned wineries, boutique wineries, that type of a thing. Just because I like to support small, like to support local. I don't want the big corporate things. I don't want the grocery store wines, especially in a place like Valley Farm where we are family-owned and independent business. That's the idea moving forward that I want to see in our wine department. And then, like I said, you taste the wine, you figure out, I'm looking for something that's a value to my customer that they're not going to pay, $500 for, or even $50, because a lot of people, such as myself, I'm drinking wine every day. I'm not paying $50 every single day.
I can't get over the fact that, Kristin, you and your husband are fucking bottling this wine and you're selling it for $10.
Yeah.
Like, how the fuck is that?
I know.
Like, the economics just is blowing my mind away.
Yeah,
It's like,
me too.
the fact, but
Hey, at
All
least
logistics
there's not a
and-
lot of overhead.
Yeah, exactly.
For the payroll.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
true. That's true.
Hey,
International HR
Yeah.
laws.
Kat, can you give us a little background though on why we should listen to you about wine? And
Ooh,
Really?
I like this. It's a job interview.
Because
Again.
I really like to drink a lot.
Yeah.
Because I'm
You're really good at drinking.
I'm really efficient at drinking all these bottles.
That's a good reason.
No, seriously, no. Tell us about the Somm stuff. And
Okay. Well, I started in the restaurant industry, and I actually started. I started as a hostess, but I got into the bar industry. I hated waiting tables. I didn't like the way people treated servers. I'm very hypersensitive to what people are thinking or feeling, and waiting tables just wasn't for me. So as soon as I turned 21, the owner put me into bartending and bar managing at Tio Leo's out on Marina. It was a nightclub, live music. We were doing
Still
the
is.
swing thing. When I was
Still
there, it was
rocking.
the peak. It was at the height. It was so much fun. A lot of big bands, ska and rockabilly came out of it. But being in that position, I was just constantly introduced to new spirits, wines, etc. I love cooking. I love food. It all just comes together for me, And so moved on from there and started working at the Prado, and I worked under a Somm there, and that's where I really
Prado's
started.
incredible. I mean, the Cohen Restaurant Group with the Cohen Restaurant.
Cohen
right?
Restaurant. It was the most monstrous bitch of a job I've ever had in my life.
Really?
It turned me off of restaurants. Yeah, it was, 370 seat, triple turnover. There was a wait out the door at every single morning. Only restaurant in Balboa Park at the time when I was there. I got my ass kicked. It made me start hating the restaurant industry.
Yeah.
I felt like I was wasting my time. It's just turnover. The food's amazing. We always made the greatest experience. It's a Cohen Restaurant Group.
Yeah.
It's in Balboa Park, but it was relentless. 16-hour days in stilettos because we all had to look, hot.
Yeah.
It was gnarly. So, but I learned a lot there, and that's where I started making a lot of the relationships with the distributors and winemakers, and started doing a lot of the tastings and all of that. And I loved it, and I loved to read. So I just started getting every book. I started, honestly, with Wine for Dummies, no joke. It was entertaining, and I'm like, oh, I want to learn more, and just picked up the Wine Bible.
It's like an outline.
Kind of, yeah. It gives you a little bit of the terms and all of that, and then I went on to the Wine Bible, and then after that, I wanted I wanted the Somm, not because I want the title. I wanted the knowledge.
Yeah.
Obviously the title's cool, but to me that's not important. There's a wine author, the one who wrote Catherine, the one who wrote the Wine Bible I was just speaking of. I can't remember her name for the life of her.
We'll put it in the show notes. All this is going to be diligently put in the show notes. So any of the books or anything we talk about, even where you go in Spain.
Perfect.
But she has never been able to. She's probably one of the most knowledgeable people on earth about wine. She, like I said, she wrote the Wine Bible. Cannot pass the Somm exam tasting portion of it. She has all of this book smarts, but not the tasting, not the palate. I find that amazingly interesting.
Sure.
So
you became a Somm, and where'd you go from there?
Well, at the same time I was doing the Somm, so as I was telling you, the Somm is pretty much self-taught. You do your own studying, your own tasting, your reading. At the time, I was the general manager at K&B, and every Wednesday from 9 a.m. till 5, I met with distributors, tasted.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a unique
How'd you get home?
opportunity. I just lived down the street.
There was no Uber at that time.
You guys are gonna love this. There's a lot of spitting involved.
Yeah.
But no joke. Just spitting. And there were a few times here and there where I wouldn't say I felt wasted, but I could feel it a little bit. But you don't, when you're tasting professionally, you shouldn't be getting drunk.
Right.
You're spitting, you're assessing, you actually taste the wine better that way. Taking notes. And so, like I said, a very unique opportunity to be able to taste wines, all price points from all over the world that a lot of people going through the program, they have to pay for out of pocket. So for me, it was really, really good. And so working towards the SOM exam, which I actually had a sponsorship through Young's Market. They paid for the first exam,
Nice.
which was awesome. My boss at the time paid for the next one. Also awesome. And then, hint, hint.
Right.
Well, there's one thing I do know is Derek and I, we both value education and continuing education.
Huge
I mean, my
proponents.
grandfather, he never stopped learning. He was a medical doctor, and once he stopped his medical practice when he was 65, he started learning about real estate. And,
I love it.
I mean, he just
Yeah.
never stopped learning, and he never stopped going to trade shows or picking up a book or an industry or whatever he was interested in. You have to continue learning, and I know Derek and myself were. I mean, we were just at the podcast conference. We just started podcasting.
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah.
like, for us, learning more about what we're passionate
Couldn't
about
agree
is
more.
really, really important.
What's awesome about this industry, wine, beer, spirits, it's constantly evolving. There's always more to learn. There's new techniques, whether it comes to growing the grapes or harvesting the grapes. It's constantly. So like you said, there's always something.
Yeah.
Even coming in here today, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm behind. I don't know everything. What if they ask me a question?
Yeah.
I don't know yet. But just having that out there just to constantly be
Oh, yeah,
reaching for
absolutely.
it,
Well, finding resources. I mean, finding resources and making relationships with people like Kristin.
The relationships are
it's-
just the most
those
amazing
are
part.
Those are the things you just never know who that person's going to be.
Yeah.
That will be someone to lean on. That might have an answer to a question.
Yep.
That might save you, all kinds of headaches for dealing with something that you're like, well, why does this company do this? Like, well, you ask somebody that, hey, they're not the CEO, but maybe they were, a sales rep, or maybe they were even a driver. And you ask them, and they give you this information. You're like, holy shit, really? That makes sense. And then I go and ask Derek, and I'm like, hey, did you know this? And he goes, oh my God, let me ask this person. All of a sudden, you've solved this puzzle all by yourself, which you couldn't find on the internet, but you had to do it by asking.
And what's amazing too is that, this industry, once you start knowing everybody, it is quite small.
Very
like
small.
everybody knows somebody. And so that's why, it's all about the relationships that you form. And that's what's been so interesting. And we've had some horror stories with buyers and some great stories with buyers.
Well, let's
these-
give us a horror story with a
Yeah,
buyer.
do tell.
a horror story.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
They buy a bunch of shit.
No. Oh gosh. Okay. I have a horror story with a buyer. I won't name names because we still
Yeah.
want to be.
She
in
might be
there.
sitting here right now.
Right.
Because we still want them to buy something, maybe.
They might be in the room.
So what's
Or they might get they might be in the room.
What's interesting about working with distributors and retailers is it's such a catch-22 sometimes. The retailer wants you to already have the distributor in that state, right?
Yes.
But the retailer wants you to have the distributor, but the distributor wants you to bring the business already from the retailer. So you're in this catch-22 of like, which one's gonna, pull first? And not every retailer works with all your distributors.
I mean,
so
that happens in craft beer.
Yeah.
It happens all the time.
Absolutely.
It's like, we're not going to open up a new account with
Yeah.
another craft beer company
Yes.
if there's already a distributor that we can get the craft beer from.
Absolutely.
So it is a catch-22.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, there was definitely one buyer that I had sent samples to a couple of times, and I was just following up with everything, and that's my job, right? I send the samples, I follow up, we try and get in, and after a while, I remember I was traveling, and I was in where the corporate office was, and so I called him and I left him a message like, "Hey, I'm in town. If you happen to be available, would love to take you for some coffee, just to meet face to face." And he wrote me an email back like, "I feel like you're stalking me, and that's not good when you're
No
in
way.
sales."
No way.
Yeah, and no punctuation, all lowercase, didn't sign the email, and I was like, wanted to be like, "You fucking asshole."
right?
Like,
Don't get me going
we're
on
dealing
email
with
etiquette.
wine here. Yeah,
Fucking email etiquette.
Sorry, I'm stalking you with wine.
You reply all.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, it was so bad. But then we deal with other buyers, that are incredible, that have given us that chance. I mean, gosh, we're in every fresh market location. It's in like 12 states. We've gotten in there. We're in Cost Plus World Market on the East Coast. We're in Whole Foods here in Southern California.
Since we're talking about Whole Foods, has anything changed since Amazon bought them?
I know that they're definitely changing some things.
They're going to be
I know
sending
they're
you
changing
some
back
sort of
stock.
Yeah.
They're really, really big on backstock.
Yes, that's
a
definitely
huge thing for them.
changed. Yeah. So, I don't think too much has changed from the wine standpoint just yet, but I'm sure that it will. And, like you were talking about before, everything's constantly changing, in grocery stores and the wine industry and what they want, what they need, what customers want. So,
what's your breakdown for sales as far as online, direct to consumer?
It's zero.
Really
so
zero.
yeah,
But
we
you
do
can,
everything.
if somebody wanted to buy on your website.
On our website, definitely you can. But most of our sales are through, retailers. So we're going through distributors, and it's amazing. All state compliance is a whole other thing. It was so funny when we started this business. I felt like, okay, I've got this. Like I understand product development and category management, and I understand the wine industry, and I've got this. I had no fucking clue. Like I thought, that this was going to be a walk in the park, and it has been anything but.
Yeah.
And so state compliance is a level that I just it wasn't even on my radar. And going from state to state, I mean, even just to ship wine into the state, you have to have a license.
Yep.
And every single state is different.
Have you guys ever thought about not creating your headquarters here in California and moving it to another state? So that way...
It's we've thought about it, but we were born and raised in Southern California.
Well, you don't necessarily need to move yourselves.
That's
but
true.
Move the address.
Yes.
Maybe get an office
Yes.
over there.
It's definitely a possibility, but no matter what, even if we moved offices, still in every single state when we're shipping wine into
Sure.
Florida or Texas or wherever, it's all these different compliance standards. And so there was one time we were going into the state, and I realized when you have a business, you have a federal identification code.
Yeah.
And I realized when we filled out all this paperwork that I had done a typo on that code.
Ooh.
And we got the paperwork back. We were ready to ship into the state, and I noticed the typo, so I just called them because I thought, they'll just change it.
Oh,
right?
no.
Not a big deal. So I just called them. I said, I made a typo. Can you change that code? Oh, no. I had to start from scratch.
yeah.
Then you got to pay the state fee again.
Yep.
You got to wait the time. You got to redo the whole thing. And I just said, I should have kept my fucking mouth shut. And then they never would have known,
I have no idea.
But it's things like that.
But then it would have bit you in the ass later
Oh,
when you paid your taxes.
absolutely.
Or an audit came through. Yeah.
Yes.
So you
Yeah.
did the right
I
thing.
did the right
It was an
thing.
expensive time lesson, but yeah.
Yes, absolutely. It's been fun.
So with two wines.
Yes.
Do we call them flavors? Am I right? By calling them, what do I call them?
Varietals.
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 Jinx.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Varietals.
So two varietals.
Yes.
Are you thinking about expanding at all? Are you?
Yeah.
What about a rosé?
Yes.
I'll say rosé all day.
Yeah. So we wanted to keep this simple. We said it's happy hour. We want a happy hour white, a happy hour red. Keep it simple. Grow the business from here. Grow the demand. And so rosé is definitely on our radar.
Sure.
We've tasted one. It looks like that one's approved. So maybe early next year.
All right.
There you go.
And then
Nice.
if we have a white, a red, and a rosé, I feel like
perfect.
we're set.
think that's awesome.
Yeah. And what's
Simplicity is huge. People don't
Exactly.
understand that.
Yes.
Simplicity is such a big thing.
It is.
It really helps you. And I mean, it's just manageable.
Absolutely.
Especially with just you and your husband.
Yes.
I mean, it's manageable. You don't have to worry about all the moving parts. And
Yeah.
well, obviously there's a ton of moving parts outside of that, but just the three varietals.
Yes.
That would
Absolutely.
be a lot easier.
And it's been great what we've been able to do thus far. Even just these two, Steven's actually done an incredible job on our Instagram page. So at Happy Hour Wine,
Oh, yeah, it's
we've
rad.
grown
You
it
guys
to
have
over
done a great job.
13,000
Really, really
followers.
impressive.
Yeah, thank you.
Very
It's
impressive.
been so fun to watch it grow, and
Look at it.
we can tell that
Good job, Stephen. We're looking at it right now.
Thanks.
You're killing it.
So-
Yes.
I mean, sex sells.
It-
We're obvious. I mean, Instagram's become so popular because it's so clean and
Yes.
so easy, and image is everything. I mean, we talk about it
Absolutely.
like, Andre Agassi, Sharp, back in like the '80s is, he's putting on an ad campaign. Image is everything, and
Yes.
now we're in a world where Facebook, Instagram, everything is how sexy is the photo, how sexy is the video, and with your photos all over the place, that helps drive your brand.
It really does.
Gives awareness.
Yeah, and it's amazing when you look at some of these huge wine brands that have 6,000 followers, 9,000 followers, and here we are, like limited distribution, and so people are out there, and they're looking for more places to buy it.
But they want to connect, and they want to know about the story, and the way that you tell that story is through your social media, is through Snapchat, is through Instagram, is through Facebook, is through podcasts. I mean, fuck, how do you go and tell people like that you're actually bottling the fucking wine yourself?
Yes.
Like how you can't tell that story.
You can't write it on the label.
Right, absolutely, yes.
I mean, and that's why it's so important, because then people, they're like, well, that's the kind of family that I want to support.
Yes.
And then they try the wine, they're like, oh my God, it's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And the price is great.
Right.
Speaking of that, what's up with the red? Are we going to have the red?
None for you.
Are we going to try it?
Yeah, let's do the red
Let's
now.
do the red, man.
Do it.
There you go.
It's
I'm
open.
parched.
Chugging.
I already
How many restaurants are you guys in?
You know what? Actually, we're not in that many restaurants. So actually, since we
I know you're in
with,
one in Spring Valley.
We are indeed. So we're in Cali Comfort. Restaurants definitely are on our radar as something that we want to expand, because we feel like it's simple, right? It's like, what do you have on for happy hour? We have happy hour wine.
Sure.
It's a house wine. It's a happy hour feature. It's perfect for restaurants. So that's definitely something that's a focus for this upcoming year. This year was really about establishing our distribution network. And then now we're just going to grow from there. And it's been incredible to partner with people like Classic Wines, where they have this, great relationship with a lot of restaurants. So that definitely helps.
Thank you.
Passing around the wine here. The red is awesome. So the red is a Cab Syrah Petit Verdot blend, and it's just, it's smooth, it's velvety, it's juicy.
So why'd you go with a blend instead of a...
straight cab or something? Yeah, so blends are really taking off.
They totally are, yeah, for sure.
So we knew that it was on trend, and we said, you know what, we loved the fact that we could play around with the wine to ensure that we delivered consistency vintage after vintage to our customers. And a blend is a great way to be able to do that.
Now, Kat, am I supposed to let this breathe for a little bit before I drink it?
No, because the way that the wine has been made by Kristin and Steven, or their fourth generation winemaker, it's ready to drink.
Yes.
Nice.
It's all about drinking it now.
Now.
Here she goes.
Also, on the note of choosing a blend, blends bring out the best of the grapes and complement each other of each of the different varietals. So that's why have become so popular over the years. A straight cab sometimes is going to be super in your face, tannic and biting on the tongue. Throw in a little Merlot in there, and it's going to soften it up a little bit, or a little bit of Syrah or whatever there. It brings all the best components of the grapes into the bottle.
One thing I'm realizing with this, I don't know what I'm talking about. But,
we don't know if you don't tell us.
It's not like too nosy, like where it comes out of my nose or anything.
Hot,
it's just really like really smooth.
Yes.
That was I don't like red wine.
Oh.
And I really, really like that.
Fantastic.
All right.
I'm glad to hear it. Thanks. And that's what it's all about.
Guy.
They really are easy drinking wines. And, we do events all the time.
Sure.
Why?
And we're actually
Why?
So events are a great way to just get out there.
Tell your story.
Tell our story.
What kind of events do you prefer?
So we do like wine and beer festivals.
Okay.
So like, for example, this Saturday, Kat's actually pouring.
Yes, there you
at
go.
the San
Nice.
Diego Zoo,
So
a
is
beer and
Corey?
wine festival in Corey. So they're actually
There you go.
pouring happy hour there.
Nice.
So it's just a way to get the brand out there for customers to just get familiar with the product, to try it.
Talk about what is your setup and why is the setup important?
Yes.
Because we talk about it all the time.
Oh, the setup's
for
huge.
barbecue competition teams, for catering restaurants.
Yes.
We are so in for events because it's the best way to get your product in front of customers.
Yeah.
I think we have some photos up on our Instagram page of like our whole layout, but oh my gosh. So we have everything from like, we do the red tablecloth. We've got this giant display that's, it's about 10 feet high, and we actually have the wine bottle cut out, and people can put their faces in the wine bottle cutout.
Why is that
into
important?
these
It's
spaces?
just so fun. Yeah, so people do it for
Engagement.
Instagram.
Exactly.
It's all
And they're
about
going to be
engagement.
having it forever.
Exactly. And so
why.
then people post that,
Yep.
and then it just goes viral from there. So it is.
But it's the branding. You've done such an amazing job creating this label,
Thank
creating this
you.
bottle, creating this UPC code, this brand. but it doesn't stop there.
Yes.
You know, it has to continue to the event, because we talk about when people put on events, or let's say there's a Taste of San Diego and there's 40 restaurants that go out there. You know, the sad thing is only 20% of those restaurants will send their best team.
Yeah.
And they'll send their best team and they'll bring their best food. Other people will try to cut on cost.
Yeah,
they'll try to,
that's
like,
stupid.
oh, well, I can't, there's going to be 5,000 people. We can't be serving tri-tip because that's going to cost us too much. Well, then don't go.
Yes.
Yeah,
Don't go.
absolutely.
If you're not going to put your best foot
forward.
if you're not going to do that, then
Yeah.
just don't go, because that is your best opportunity to engage one-on-one
Get
with
yourself out
somebody.
there.
I mean, it's absolutely amazing, what you're able to do, especially when you're talking about taste.
Yes.
I mean, when you're bringing barbecue or you're bringing wine, like, that's your event.
Yeah.
You should shine.
Yeah.
People should leave there and be like, oh, we got happy hour wine.
Yeah.
Like, that's the one that they think
And
of,
it's
right?
also a great way for us to tell people where they can find our wine, right?
Yeah.
So we're like, hey, we're on the wine list at Cali Comfort. Hey, come find us at Valley Farms.
Yeah.
I would crush this with some brisket.
there you go. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm
absolutely.
telling you right now, that
yeah.
would be phenomenal with some
Yes,
brisket.
absolutely. It's a great way to just get customers, engaged and let them know where to find us. And it's incredible. It doesn't matter, whether we're on the wine list at Cali Comfort, if we're in Valley Farm, if I walk into a Whole Foods, no matter what it is, it still is like the first time for me. When I walk
Sure.
in and I see my wine on a wine list in a store, it's absolutely incredible because we've worked so hard for
Yes.
this product.
Well, you're proud
And
of
so
it.
We're proud of it.
You're
Yeah.
given a good price point.
Yes.
You're not so. It's something I talk about too at the store. I sleep well at night,
Yeah.
and I'm still excited about everything because I know I'm giving the best deal I can.
Yes.
And I don't want you coming. You probably don't want people drinking your wine one time a year.
Yeah.
You want them to drink it all the time.
Absolutely.
Same thing. I don't want you to come to Valley Farm
Yes.
once a year for the holiday to have a good prime rib roast. I want to keep my prices down, give you the best product, so you come and you become a customer every single day.
Absolutely.
And that's what you're creating with this. It's
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah.
And that's what we want, buyers, retailers to think that as well. I want to have them know that we're out there, and we're giving them the best product for them to sell to their customers as well. And we go out and we travel. I mean, gosh, I was just in Arizona a couple weeks ago. I was just in Florida up until last night.
Are you personally on Twitter or Instagram or
I
Facebook?
am on Instagram, Kristin Jolley. Actually, it's Jolly Good Times.
There you go. so
right.
people can follow you.
They can, absolutely. It's funny because I do so much, with happy hour and all this stuff. I need to do a better job of posting my own because I'm constantly traveling and I'm like, I'm
But that's
doing
the
fun
cool stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what we found about the podcast is behind the smoke allows
Yeah.
both Derek and I, not just this is what Cali Comfort's doing or Valley Farm. This is what goes on like in our life to
Yes.
put this on.
Right.
And like you're on those journeys. You're there.
Absolutely.
You're at the warehouse. You're traveling. Like, hey, this is what, you're doing and
Yes.
people can follow you. The problem with bigger brands is they're not getting that. And by the time they do get it, you're going to be so far ahead of them.
Yes.
You're going to be so far ahead of them because you've positioned yourself to make it part of the journey.
Right, absolutely.
And like that stuff is so important. And that's the coolest part about social media and digital media is like you can reveal that stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we're going to follow you.
That's a
Fantastic.
that's a pretty menu we got up.
Oh,
on
I
the
was
screen.
gonna say, have you seen
my
that?
gosh, I
Look at
haven't seen
that.
that.
Right?
That looks incredible,
So,
you guys.
Sean, how have sales been?
So this is not out. Is it out? Not
We're-
yet.
we're
So this
actually-
is
we're
pre-release.
looking-
This is
oh
behind
my
the smoke.
gosh.
This
We're-
is literally behind the smoke.
We're looking
I-
at the most incredible menu right now of
Wasn't
Cali
that
Comfort.
great?
Yeah, that's
So I'm going to
amazing.
take 2 seconds to plug Corey
Yes, please
Wagner
do.
over here because since we opened the restaurant, I've always Eric, our bar manager, our general manager, my business partner, he has had full responsibility of bar, everything that's beer, liquor, wine. Now he's the GM. Like, it's amazing when you start with 18 employees and then now we have 92, how many different things
Yeah.
and how many different moving parts. And to get from 8 taps, we had to build a keg room to get 24 taps so that we can get all these craft beers. But so many different jobs and so many different people, sales reps coming in. And in the beginning, Eric would have to go up to Southern, up to Young's, split cases of liquor.
been there, totally
like
understand.
loading up his Toyota to get back.
Ugh. Yeah.
It takes adding great members to your team, and I tasked Corey with, I need help. Can you fix the wine program? I don't care how you do it. You work with Eric, and let's get better wine for our customers because it's one of the most embarrassing things. we don't have people that want wine when they come to the restaurant.
Well,
but
they're
that
not gonna
doesn't
buy
mean
it
that we
if-
should ignore
yeah.
it. That
Oh,
does not mean
absolutely.
that we should ignore it
Yeah.
because there are people that want wine.
Yeah.
You know, they go out to eat, and this menu now we actually can offer them some fucking amazing wine
Yep.
with an
Yep.
amazing
And be
story
proud of
along
it.
with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And like you
absolutely.
said, that red, it goes perfect with barbecue.
Barbecue,
I
absolutely.
mean, it's you guys are going to kill it.
I
It looks
just
amazing.
can't wait to see. I want the report in a month once this menu goes out of how your wine sells.
Well, what about tastings?
So Kane actually used to do those there.
Oh, yeah.
And that's something that kind of fell off. I honestly don't know why, but I
But if you
do
can
know
get-
Kane's down to do it. He's ready to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah,
And
you
this
can
is something
get-
you should do at happy hour.
Absolutely.
Have
You
people
know?
just
Absolutely.
introduce it.
Yeah.
And introduce
Yep.
the story and let people know what's going on.
Pair it with some barbecue and try it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we do tastings all the time. Like when we were talking about events and people are pouring around us, $20, $30, $40 bottles of wine, and people are lining up for more happy hour.
I love it.
Because it's just
It's
not
awesome.
harsh one way or the other. It's just easy to
Approachable.
drink. It's
Well,
approachable.
I mean, look what $2 Chuck did.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that $2 Chuck, you have an affordable wine.
Right.
But this is something that's so much different. I mean,
Yeah.
you've filled a different niche.
Yes.
And you've done it with class and you've done it
Quality.
with
Thank
quality.
you.
And that's really the cool, and the fact that you're willing to come and bullshit with me
I
and
think this is
Derek.
like the best way to spend the
Ding
morning.
dongs like us. Yeah.
Drinking on a podcast. I'll do it all the time.
That's so.
Oh, you're unplugged.
I'm unplugged, buddy.
You're unplugged. This is Sean unplugged.
Be unplugged.
Back in?
Yeah.
Cool. Right on. Yeah, but no, I'm a huge fan of this wine.
Sweet.
I'm glad you like it.
When are we going to do a tasting here?
We are going to
Yeah,
plan
let's-
one.
yeah,
Yeah,
let's
we've
do
been
it.
talking about it. We're just working out schedules and all of that. We will.
Absolutely. It'd be great.
So, how is being in business with your husband?
It's so much fun. So I mean, because he's gone quite a bit with being a fireman, it's a great time for us to spend time together. So when we go and do these events, together, it's a fun time. We work really well together. I mean, we kind of divide and conquer, right? So he does the social media, he does a lot of the CFO work, and I'm traveling out and about, and it really is fantastic. We met each other. I was 16 when I met him.
Wow.
We
Wow.
dated for about 10 years. We've been married for 5. So
Awesome.
it's definitely working. I mean, wine makes you happy. And
Right?
Yeah.
I would say that's the secret to a great marriage. A little bit of wine.
Yeah.
Or
Happy
a lot
hour
of
wine.
Yeah,
Happy
exactly.
hour. That's cool. So what's next? What's on the horizon? Or you guys, how many cars do you guys have? You guys, I saw you have a little wrap
Oh, yeah,
car
We
that's
out.
rad.
do. We have a wrapped
That's really
car, so
cool.
we've got
I
a
like that.
Fiat, and we wrapped in happy hour. It's so much fun. It's a great car. It definitely makes a lot of people turn their heads on the freeway. Or we've got the red on one
Yeah,
side and the
that's
Chardonnay on the
great.
other. We only have one right now, but it's so funny because we'll be at events and people will say like, "Oh, I saw one of your cars on the freeway," and we're like, "Yeah, just one of the many."
How many cases of wine can you get in that Fiat?
Oh, you'd be surprised. We have done events
pack
to
it.
where we pack it, to where the things like we're gonna Fred Flintstone
get an
it,
Easy Up in there?
we haven't gotten an easy up in
Not
there
yet.
before, but yeah, it's definitely it's amazing how much you can pack in there.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. We're actually looking at a catering vehicle right now, and we're. I went and looked at it's called the Dodge ProMaster, and I mean it's huge. And then I looked at their one. It's called the City. It's kind of more of a smaller one, and the amount of stuff you can get in these cars nowadays, it's crazy. I always thought the Prius.
That's what I was just
I
going to
always
say.
thought those were
Yeah.
like how small they are.
Yeah.
Dude, my fat ass fits in there, no problem.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
Me and you? Now you're pushing it.
Now you're pushing it.
Now you're pushing it.
Yeah, now you're pushing it.
So what kind of advice would you give to somebody that's looking to get into the wine industry or think that wine might be their passion?
Oh gosh, be ready for a long road ahead. It's definitely not as easy as it seems. It seems very glamorous on the outside, right? Like you guys go to the winery and you make wine and you could do events and everything's all glamorous. But gosh, there's so many times where I'm behind the desk filling out state
Sure.
paperwork and all this stuff. So it's definitely, there's a lot of work that goes into it. But like I said, when you walk into a store and you see your product on the shelf, there's no better feeling than, something that you've worked so hard for. And so definitely, thank you to you guys for putting, believing in us and adding it to Cali Comfort's menu.
Well,
Thank you to
everything
you guys
is
for
everything is
Valley
earned.
Farms.
Everything's earned with
Yes.
Derek and myself, and
Absolutely.
even the people that we first meet. It's it's a relationship. And,
It is.
You're going to have to deal with me now, and my team. But for us, it's so important to be part of the story and to find
Yes.
people that love what they do. I mean, fuck, they wake up and it's not easy.
No.
There's a lot of things that go wrong, and a lot of things. We have plans to do different things, and get ready for our Spring Valley event, and we've got work to do.
Yeah.
We've got work to do. We've got to get our sign up forms ready. We've got to get our sponsors locked
Yeah.
in. We've got to get the street shut down. We got to get the permit. There's lots of things that have to happen, but like you said, when you come to the event, you're like, oh, this is fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
I want to throw a barbecue festival in front of my restaurant.
Yeah.
Like, well, you can, but get ready.
Yeah.
Just get ready for all the work that it's going to
Yeah.
take. And even 8 years later, we're still got plenty of work to do. And you have to embrace that work.
Yes.
Isn't it a trip that's like what keeps us going though? It's like the fucking crazy hectic stuff that
Absolutely.
like that's what keeps that fire going. At least for me, man. It's like
I
there's
agree.
always going to be something. I'm always doing something. I'm on the go. The stagnant life just isn't for me.
And that's
so.
why I love that opening of every Behind the Smoke
Yeah.
podcast, because there is no Red Bull, there is no Monster
No.
Energy drink that gives you more fuel to move forward
Or
on your
people
business.
telling you that you can't do it.
Yeah, people
Yeah.
tell us all the time, you're never going to get to where you want to be, and there's a lot of no's. But
Did you
know
run
what?
into anybody that gave you anything based on your age or your gender?
Gender.
Absolutely. People
Like, oh, you
don't
don't know
take
what the
me
fuck you're talking
seriously.
about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
people think
Like,
that I haven't.
You don't
spent
run.
an-
You don't run the business.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Yeah.
Actually, fuck yeah, I do.
Yes, exactly. Everyone's always like, "Oh no, but your parents own it," and I'm like, "No, it's
No,
just
I own
us."
it.
Like, no,
Yeah.
it's me. And so, that we've run into that in this industry. There's definitely a lot of people that have been around for a long time in the industry that feel like they know. And so that's one of our struggles and one of our hurdles, is just getting over that and having them believe in us and believe in our product, and move forward. Because we've gotten a lot of no's, but when you get those yeses, I mean,
Yeah.
in between, it makes every no that much, sweeter.
Well, yeah. The nose will make the yeses feel so great.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at where they're at. Find
Yeah,
us.
so we're all over the place. So across 23 states, we're Whole Foods in Southern California, Arizona, Nevada. We're in the Fresh Market in 12 states. Total
that
Wine
Fry's
in Nevada.
Marketplace?
Fry's Marketplace
That's like
is
Fry's
in
the electronic store?
No,
No,
it's in
there's
Arizona. There's Fry's
yeah.
food.
I was
Fry's
like,
food, yeah.
fuck, they're selling electronic things. we're all fucked.
Yeah.
Fries and Amazon's
So
coming
GMO.
up with the
Yeah.
food business.
Yeah. But I mean, everything from California to Florida to Indiana.
What's your
to
biggest
North-
market? I'm curious. What state is your
So California is definitely, one that we focus on so much. We live here, we're so involved with Classic. We go on ride-alongs with all the reps all the time. It's a lot of fun to develop those relationships. But even, North Carolina, South Carolina are huge
Interesting.
for us. And everything's just continuing to grow.
What about
as-
media coverage? Like, how do you guys go about getting media coverage for?
So we haven't gotten much, and we really want to get out there and get
Twitter.
more. Yeah, exactly.
Get on
We've got-
Twitter.
Get on Twitter. We've got.
Wah, wah, wah.
No,
I hear it
seriously,
every day.
everybody's on.
Yeah.
Everybody's on. All the media people are.
Yeah.
on
I
Twitter.
agree with that.
Yeah.
I honestly, I don't discredit
At
that. but-
happy hour
But
wine.
are
Yes.
you just constantly attached to your phone if you're on Twitter?
I don't know
Yeah.
what you're
Constantly.
talking about. What are you talking about?
So
that's who he
when
is.
I
Twitter
don't know
was
what you're
first
talking
coming out
Yeah.
at K&B, I started one just for all the reasons
Yeah.
that you said, and that's all my phone did all day. And I was
Right.
like, oh,
Well, I mean,
oh
you
hell
can
no.
you can control your notifications just like any social app, but the most important thing is telling the journey. And like
Yes.
that's the best part about social media is interacting, telling the journey, and developing relationships that wouldn't have happened unless you were on Twitter or you were on Instagram. It's like let's say where'd you go? The last state you went to?
So I was actually just in Florida up until last night.
So there you go. You're in Florida and you're out there for your business and
Yes.
you see the devastation of the
Yes,
hurricane
yes.
and you can literally talk about that.
Absolutely.
Like these are things that you're immediately trying to run your business and this is what you're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is a powerful narrative of who you are as a businesswoman.
Yes.
And then somebody might find that story and then they'll like, happy hour wine.
Yeah.
Then they learn more about you. They put in a publication that becomes SEO content that drives
Yes.
people to get your product into their stores.
Right.
You know,
No, it's very true. Yeah.
very powerful.
It is.
So we're going to be tweeting at you.
Perfect. Sounds great. Yeah, actually, Corey just had a photo up last night. We posted this yesterday because I was in between flights at 30,000 feet, and I open up to get a drink on Southwest, and it says "Happy Hour every hour. Cheers to going places."
That's
and I was
awesome.
like, "Yeah, this
Yeah.
is amazing."
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I've got my laptop out with my
That's rad.
label.
That's rad.
So it's out
That's
there.
great
It's something that's
messaging.
ingrained. Yeah, it's something that's ingrained. Happy hour is ingrained in all of us. You say it, you instantly think of good things. So it's all just about making something that's household words into a household brand.
So it says vegan.
And
Yes.
non-GMO.
Yes.
Okay,
I didn't know that.
I didn't know
Yeah.
Oh, it's fine.
wines.
Vegan.
It's
Yeah.
fine. It's the fining. Goes
It
through
is.
fish. Goes through
Fish
the-
bones.
yeah.
Wow.
A lot of
Yep.
people don't know that. So
I had
basically,
no fucking
in the-
idea that wine couldn't be vegan.
in the
know
refining
that?
No.
process.
I had no fucking idea.
In the refining process, it's definitely something that so many winemakers still use. But the other fish bones that are used, and it's a filtration process. It goes through the fish bones, and if it goes through that, then you can't call it vegan. So we don't use that. So our wines
What do you
are,
use? Is it proprietary?
no, it's not proprietary. There's just other ways to use kind of a plastic film. There's other filtration processes.
How many in the marketplace are vegan wine?
Not a lot.
Not that many.
Really?
Yeah. It's just something that's been used in winemaking for years and years, and so you just have to really.
I'm so vegan today.
This is a
I've had
whole
water
other
and
thing.
wine. I'm fucking just
Exactly.
crushing my vegan.
Yes. But yeah, we're non-GMO. We've got low sulfites in our wines, and then we always say it's gluten free. I mean, all wine is gluten free, but people don't know. You never
People
know.
don't know.
No.
People don't know.
Exactly.
I'm with it.
I have
Yeah.
a couple customers that this is a list of things that
They're buzzwords that-
Constantly,
yeah.
I mean, I've been out on searches for non-GMO bourbons and whiskeys for like the last 2-3 months.
Sure.
Yeah, so that's great to know.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I mean,
I've
we've
got some
really
customers
thought
for you.
holistically. Yeah, we've thought holistically about this brand. It's not just about we've got great wine, perfect, but no, we're going the extra step to make sure that we're covering all of our bases.
How far out are you planning for your business? Like, how far out are we talking? With the vineyard out in Spain.
Yeah. So, right now we're, doing 2017. So right now our vintage is 2016. So what's great about Spanish wine is, we actually harvest the grapes quite young. We make the wine quite young, so it's like fresher, and it's not heavily
I
oaked.
think you can taste that, the
Yeah.
freshness.
Absolutely. So, we're always looking a couple of years out. So we're planning on growing significantly next year.
So you guys have a partnership with the vineyard
Yes,
out there?
we do.
Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
And does anybody out there help you, or you just literally roll out there?
No, they
Like,
definitely
okay.
help us. Yeah, they're absolutely fantastic.
Do they have a tasting room out there, or is that not a thing in
No,
Spain?
It is a thing in Spain, but we're definitely more production focused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do you sell it in Spain?
No, we don't sell it in Spain, just in the U.S.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Maybe someday.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It seems to make sense, right? It's right there.
You don't need to ship it.
drop
Yes.
drop a few
Yeah.
cases off.
Yeah.
Hey, so why don't you sell this for
You
us?
can just call it siesta.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but then that opens up a whole. You were talking about state regulation. Now you have international
International
regulation.
compliance.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Jesus.
And I
Your tax man will have fun with that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just I've got so much time on my hands. I might as well, right?
Right.
That's right. I know. I like that.
Well, this is awesome, guys. We just
Yeah.
can't thank you guys enough for coming in, spending some time with us.
Thanks so
It's
much for
been
having
great.
us.
Follow you
Yeah.
on Instagram.
Yeah.
And
So
Happy Hour
What's your
Wine.
Instagram?
So at Happy Hour Wine is Happy Hour's Instagram, and then I'm Jolly Good Times.
Jolly Good Times. And then you're gonna have a Twitter account for us too. So
Yes.
we'll put in the show notes.
Yeah.
What about you, Kat?
I have an Instagram, but I don't ever use it.
Okay, so
Catastrophe.
you will start
she'll
using
do
it.
the Valley Farm one.
You will start using it.
Corey is my Instagram
Corey
account.
is
and
your
it is
Instagram.
through
He has
Valley
lots of
Farm.
Instagram. I think he broke Instagram. He can't even switch between that many accounts anymore. But you guys know how to find us, contact us, check out the show notes, tweet at us, send us your questions, sign up for Spring Valley Tailgate and Barbecue Festival. It's November 5th. It's a big day. We're going to have fun out
I'm
on
stoked.
Troy Street.
Ready?
Thank you.
We have a meeting today, Sean.
I know. You can't go anywhere.
I can't.
I got you.
Getting
I'm all up in
some
your
beer
head.
and wine involved in that.
Beer and wine,
Hopefully
absolutely.
happy hour.
wine.
That's what I was
on the
thinking
front
too,
patio.
right?
We're gonna have a
Hopefully
happy
happy
hour.
hour.
Is it patio only?
Yeah. We're not unless you
All
want to
right.
do the permit for the entire street.
I've done it before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we've done
Got the
several of them.
insurance on it.
That's on you. But actually, if you want to give away a free car, we can get the insurance
I
taken care of.
don't want to
too.
give away a free car. But
Happy
we will
hour
have a happy Cali Comfort. That's for
Perfect.
sure. Thank you very much for coming. We appreciate both
Thanks
you ladies.
so much for
Thank you.
having
guys.
us.
You guys
This has
rock.
been great.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.